Did you miss me? I'm in Crete, long old story. Thought I'd give you a little episode of A Pint with JG. Today I'm drinking Mythos. It's rubbish, but you cannot get draft beer in Crete in December, January. So cheers to you and Happy New Year. It's New Year, a lot of people are thinking about updating their CVs, putting a new CV together, particularly in the sales game. We get to the end of a calendar year or the end of a financial year and we really think, how was the year? And what we tend to find this time of year is that it's a period of reflection over the Christmas period. Lots of sales leaders come to us having thought about that sales guy who wasn't quite cutting it and they perhaps part company with that individual. Lots of salespeople think, do you know what, that employer's not quite cutting it for me. So a lot of people around now do start thinking about their CVs, and I thought for this episode of A Pint with JG, we just talk about some key tips as to what you can do with your CV. The first one for me is you do not need to pay somebody to professionally write your CV for you. Your CV is a document that sells you and talks about you. Why would you need, as a salesperson, to pay somebody else to write a document that sells you to other people? If you can't write that yourself, what the hell are you doing in the sales profession? It's a simple document that allows you to advertise you, promote you and sell you to other employers. Whatever you do, do not pay somebody to write it for you.
Help me sail away.
Point 2, put your contact details on your bloody CV, please. The amount of CVs we see where for some unknown reason people like to strip their contact details from their CV. Why make it hard for people to get in contact with you if you're looking for a new job? It's just ludicrous. Okay, point 3, the About Me section. The amount of CVs we see where that About Me section of the CV just spouts utter garbage is mind-blowing. The only reason there's an About Me section on most of the CVs that we see is because people use the Microsoft Word template. They can't be bothered to manipulate the template. There's an About Me section at the top of the CV template, and so they fill it in with mindless nonsense. If you can't be bothered to manipulate the template in Microsoft Word, then think about what you're writing. Think about the key selling points about you. If you're a top quality new business hunting sales animal, then make it very clear, I am a new business hunter. If you're an expert in a specific vertical market, then make it very clear in both the title of your CV and in the About Me section. I am an expert in public sector sales in the IT industry. What you have to assume when you're writing a CV, new year, you're thinking new me, you have to put yourself in the shoes of the person reading the CV. And you have to assume, and I'm sorry if you're in HR or if you're in talent acquisition and you're listening and watching this vlog, you have to assume that the person reading the CV is in a hurry, is tired, pissed off because it's January, and is reading a lot of CVs, and they really can't be asked having to think about what you're saying in the CV. Make it easy for them. Make it easy for people to match you to a job. Okay, let's talk about the meat and potatoes of the CV itself. You're going to start then highlighting the jobs that you've done. So state the job, when you joined, when you left. Then state what you sell and what it does. We see a lot of CVs where people write the name of the company, then they write, grew the business by this and that, but they forget to assume that the person who's reading the CV might not necessarily know the company. They might not necessarily know the technology. They might not necessarily know what you do. So make sure you assume stupidity on the part of the reader and write Company X does X, Y, Z, what they do, who they sell it to, and then go into the description of the role that you're in as a salesperson in that business. Next bit in each job description is state who you sell it to. Do you sell it to public sector? Do you sell it to the NHS? Do you sell it to banks, building societies? Be clear, be precise, and make sure that when you're doing that, you're doing it very, very clearly, and perhaps thinking about the keywords that somebody would be using to search for somebody with your skill set. So if, for example, you know banking and financial services, what are the ways that somebody would describe banking and financial services if they were to search a database of CVs for somebody who knew banking and financial services? Would they put banking, financial services, finance sector? How would you describe that? And perhaps think about how during the course of the CV, you may load it, if you're an expert in, for example, that space. Let's say you're public sector, how would you load it with councils, public sector, government throughout the document, so that if somebody was searching in a HR team or a talent acquisition team through their database of CVs of people that have applied for jobs previously, as an example, how would your CV come up in a simple search through a simple document management or AI search that somebody would do in their system? Now, you've described what you sell, you've described who you sell it to. Next thing to do is explain how you sell it. Are you an account manager, a new business hunter? If you're a new business hunter, explain how you acquire new business. Make the job easy for somebody who might want to hire you. So if you're a new business hunter who's comfortable picking up the phone, cold calling, who is good at social media, good at generating leads via LinkedIn, then be very clear and succinct about that. If you're an account manager that is a good manager of a portfolio of accounts, again, be clear and succinct about that. Explain you are a portfolio account manager and you have experience in managing and growing accounts. So often I see CVs where it's just unclear as to what the individual does and actually more specifically how they actually do it. Final bit, hobbies and interests. Tough one, this one. You can't put that you like Netflix. You can't put that you have read 3 books last year. Makes you sound stupid. If you've got hobbies and interests, that's great. Private pilot's license, brilliant. Something that shows you've achieved something, something that shows you're a stayer, a sticker-atter. If you've run a couple of marathons, brilliant. But what you can't put is something really banal. If your hobbies and interests are banal, good for you, great. No problem at all, because don't put them on your CV. No one cares, and they actually make you sound a bit banal. So that's me here in Crete over New Year. It's a long old story. I'll tell you when I meet you. Back for a pint with JG. We're finally here. Big love. Goodbye.
In the summertime.